Problems that we have in our society today. How many people have problems? Everybody can raise their hand. We all have problems, some bigger than others. But I was thinking of, it just amazes me everywhere I go. I've had the opportunity to travel many, many places, even overseas, in many, many churches. I've met a lot of people. We go into the parole office. We go into the prison. I go into churches. I speak to a lot of people. And I'm into schools. Everywhere I go, everybody has some twisted problems in their life. Relationships, marriages, divorces, heartache, pain. And I can't seem to get over this. In my mind, I'm wondering, what is the solution? Right now, I'm sure we all know about what's happening in our society about with guns in school, this tragedy that happened in the school. Many people have it on their mind. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to solve these problems. And every one of us can stand up and share your problems. You can share your past. You can share what you've been through. You can go on and on. But I have been committed for the last 20 years to finding solutions. That's what I want. I want solutions. And that's why every time you walk in here, I'm going to be speaking about some kind of solution. Maybe you've ever heard it already, but I'm going to try to explain things in a different light, in a different way. Because I've learned that a lot of things that I've learned about life, about change, about a better future, I've learned it in bits and pieces as I read books, as I listened to seminars, as I listened to sermons, as I asked questions. But I wanted to share with you this evening, it's just a mess. And I don't have to ask you here tonight, but everybody is facing challenges in your life. So my question to you this evening is, what is the solution? I mean, really, what is your solution? What do you think your solution is? I did a sermon called "What Do You Believe?" If you ever know how to spell, is that correct? Let me ask you guys something, because this is serious business. What options do you have to change your life, to better your future, to deal with the circumstances that you're dealing with right now? What options do you have? Think about that for a minute. Anybody want to throw something up? What options? What are the options? Many of us have been in prison. We get out of prison. We have to deal with life. We have to deal with a wife, with the children, with ex-wife, with exes, with parole, with probation. We have all these issues, right? So, but what are your options? Let's get down right to it. See, because I want to deal with the problem, because I started with problem, right? Problem. So I'm going to go from here to here to here. Solution. T or S? T? Okay. So maybe I should have. No, I'm going to do options first, because I want to surprise you with a problem. So what are your options for your problems? Nobody has answers? If you wanted to change your life, if you need help, what problems? Okay, church. There you go. What others? Job? Yes, sir.
Your attitude or your outlook.
Okay.
You can change your outlook.
Okay, so what would I call that?
Have a good
education? Okay.
Change of character, I guess we would call it.
You have issues, you have problems. Where are you looking for answers?
Prescription drugs.
Okay, so we can go to drugs and
Gangs.
no, prescription drugs. That would be yes, drugs, medication. In other words, doctors, right? Medication. How about programs? This is a program, right? What else did I have? Let's see.
Rehab is under program.
That would be under programs. Okay. This could be church. This could be religion. You know, with all that prayer, everything falls into church. Education. So, in other words, you're going to find your school. Family, that could be. Family. How many had luck with that? Anybody had any luck with family? Trying to find help, trying to find solutions.
Somebody else's family. What about like hood, like your old neighborhood, like your home?
Environment.
Well, that's part of the problem. It could be part of the solution too. You know, as we. So no, the reason I'm pointing these things out is that, you know, if we have issues, so where are you finding your solutions? Do you want to change? Do you want solutions? See, that's the question I want you to answer yourself. Ask yourself. Because I got a call from a guy today. He texted me. He found our information, Choose a Change, because I had Steve, he posted a link on, where was it? Craigslist. We decided, let me go reach out to some guys. So we put a link that we help men trying to change their lives, put our address, put my number on there, and he texts me. Let me just read you the text, because this is what sparked my thoughts. Because I'm looking for solutions, and I want to help you. And I see so many people, you know, going there, just lost. They never fixed their problem. They're just out there. And I'm wondering, how do you find solutions? This guy said, let me just read you so you can get a mindset. He asked me if I had a Facebook for Choose a Change. I said, no, not really. He said, I saw your ad on Craigslist. I said, are you talking about Choose a Change? He said, yes. I said, we have a meeting tonight. Where are you from? I told him. He said, from Edinburgh. Can you make a meeting tonight? He says, no, not, maybe next time. He says, I need to change, but it's hard to do by myself and hard to ask as well for help. I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 35. Been involved in gangs, bad things all my life, gangs, drugs, just things that are out of this world. I said, and then my famous question, I asked it on a text. But do you want to change your life? I asked him, do you want to change your life? He says, 100%. I said, all right, then this guy, he do whatever it takes, no? I said, so why don't you want to come tonight? He said, well, I got family functions. Son's basketball game. I promised to show up, and I need to be there. So I kind of read between the lines there. You've been messing up. I said, okay, no problem. Are you interested in coming to church? Then he says, yes, but I'm a Catholic all my life. Well, that hasn't helped much, has it? I said, well, no problem. I think you need to come and see and visit and see what we have to offer. And that's why I invite people to come and see what we have to offer. He says, but I never run into any Catholic churches or Catholic people trying to help with problems like mine. That's what he said. He says, I'm just saying. That's what he said. I'm just saying.
I guess he doesn't want that.
Here's what I told him. Well, the reality, and here's what I want to give you guys tonight. The reality, and that's what I deal with. I deal with realities. The reality is that help is hard to find. It is not easy to change your life. But what I found out was that it was possible. I wasn't looking for easy. I put this. I was looking for possible. That is exactly why I started this organization, the Choose the Change Foundation. So I ask you again, what are our options? Because they're not easy to find. And what I want to do for you today is, you gave me some options. What about Jesus? But let me give you some, I want to give you some principles. You can choose any of these. Because you do. Each and every one of us has chosen one of these. And then the ones you've been forced to choose, prison and rehab, and you've been forced to do that. Because if you don't take control of your own life, somebody else will. No matter which one you choose here, let me tell you what part of the solution is. Commit. Is it 2 T's? Commitment? Is it 2 M's?
No, it's 1 M.
Okay. See, I'm learning how to spell in here. Commit. Meant. Like that? You're going to have to commit to something. And that's something that we have problems with. Am I right or wrong? We have problems with committing to something. That's why we never accomplish much. Or at least that's what happened to me. I accomplished, and those people that have accomplished things in life, you know, they had their other life, part of their life messed up for many different reasons. But you have to commit to something to move forward. Does that make sense to anybody? Let me tell you what happened to me, so you can get an idea of why I'm running through this. Here's what happened to me. I just got myself in a mess when I was young. Using drugs, popping pills, smoking cigarettes. By the time I was 17, I'm away to prison, right? Tried to escape, get me an escape charge. I went to prison for burglary of a building, burglary of a habitation, escape, murder. That's what I went to prison for. I got out when I was 24, remember? And then I was a hardcore drug addict for 10 years. So I had all these issues going on in my life. And then, so why am I telling you the story? Why? What happened to me? Okay. I'm going to tell you a story that I haven't told very many people. In fact, I don't think I've ever told it in here. So I'm going to tell you a story. How's that? Now that most of you are here. I got out of prison at the age of 40. Man, I was on fire. I'm talking about on fire. Still am. I want to change my life. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I had a real good idea because I've been reading, I've been studying. But I had some reservations. Like many of you sitting in here today, you have some reservations. So you want to do right, but in your mind you have some other ideas. Yeah, maybe in the future I'm going to do this. Maybe I'm going to do that. And my reservations was, I wanted to drink. I wanted to drink. I wanted to drink. I wanted to be a casual drinker. I wanted people to let me alone and just, let me live my own life. I'm okay. You're trying to put me in this program, make me do this and make me do that. And, you all know what I'm talking about. You have to do things that you don't want to. But because of your lifestyle and because of what we messed up our life, we're forced to go through these things. To make a long story short, a year and a half after I got out of prison, before that I started smoking, started drinking a beer, and before you know it, I started smoking crack again. That's not something that most people don't know about me. And within 4 months, within 5 months, my whole world started crumbling down again. After going through the mess that I went through, going to prison for 13 years, being a drug addict and a loser for 10 years, putting needles in my arm, and then here I am all excited about my life, my wife excited, my kids excited, and then I mess up again, fall flat on my face. Here's what I did. Listen, I'm trying to make this as real as I can for you guys, because I really want to help you. I locked into a program. It was called CA, and I'm going somewhere with this. So just stay with me. It was called the CA program. Does anybody know what that means? CA? Nobody? It was Cocaine Anonymous. Anybody heard of AA? Okay, this is CA. It was new here in the Valley. That's why you haven't heard of it. I don't even know if it exists anymore. But see, I know it was God. I'm going somewhere. Stay with me. And I came into this program, and here's what this man told me. Listen closely. I'm talking about changing your life. Do you really want to change your life? He said, do you want to change your life? He asked me that. I said, yeah. He said, do you want to stay sober? I said, yes. He said, well, here's what I need you to do. Oh, no, he asked me another question. Maybe those of you that have been in AA, you might have heard this. He said, are you willing to go to any length? Man, he was asking me some powerful question, like, man, why you make me commit so much? I said, yes. He said, okay, I need you to come to a meeting every day. I said, every day? He said, yes, for 90 days. I said, every day for 90 days? He said, yeah, what's wrong with that? You said you want to change your life. I said, yeah, but every day? And he said, did you use every day? Oh, man, he got me there. Man, I got it. I got it, man. I got it right there and then. I said, oh, so I need to change my commitments. So I started going to this thing. Listen closely. I started going to CA every day, every day. I learned about you want to know AA? I can tell you because we use the big book, the AA book. I know about Williams. About what's his name? AW? Anybody know? No AA guys here? Man. I started learning this thing. This guy started teaching me. But what I found out is that if I wanted to change my life and wanted to stay sober, I found that I was going to have to commit to that program my whole life. He says, this is the only way it's going to work. Because you're an addict and you'll always be an addict. You're always going to be an alcoholic. You can't change that. Oh, I didn't like that. But that's what I accepted it. What he was telling me is that I was a addict. Is that how you spell it? And that I was going to be one forever. And that's why I needed to commit to that. Anybody ever heard of that before? Anybody? Anybody heard this before? Because if you want to go try a program and you're not going to go in there and just think you're going to change your life by going and signing your little paper. It don't work that way. If you want to change your life, you're going to have to commit, right? If you want a job and he gives you a job, what do you have to do? You have to commit. See, this is how you start changing your life. So he told me I had to commit to this program, and I committed for that program for 5 years. But see, I knew some things. I had a little bit of knowledge, and I had to make a decision. Here's the decision I made. Here's what I had to be doing here. I had to be working with other people. I had to be, doing things there to help others. Committing to this God called a program. And then I found out that if I did the same thing over here with Jesus, that I could change my life even more. Jesus gave me an extra benefit. Salvation. But I had to do exactly the same thing I was doing over here. So guess what I chose? I chose Jesus. So that's my story. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start teaching these principles to people that they will want to take them and use them. But what's the problem? I broke it down and made it real simple. You can call yourself a sinner, or you can call yourself an addict, or a drug addict, or a gambler, or you can just boil it down to this, and you're the problem. Does that make sense to anybody? I'm trying to be as realistic as I can with you, because that's the reality. So what is the solution? There's a lot of things that I've learned. I had a teaching here. It's called Man's Problems as I See It. And everything I teach in here is the only thing that's going to help us. Let me tell you one of the first problems that I see in man's is right here. What does that say? Ignorance. Who can tell me what that means?
Not knowing.
Not knowing. You've heard me say this before, right? It's just not knowing. I didn't know how to change my life. It's called ignorance. I didn't know it was my problems. That's called ignorance. I didn't know that I could change my life. That's called ignorance. And I see this in a lot of people. A lot of people. Because most of us are ignorant to who do we believe? Which way do we go? Which program or religion or works? Isn't this how people think? I asked you, where are your solutions? You didn't know. Your options. Let me read you something. One of the main solutions that people are going to is drugs and rehabs and psychiatrists. That's a big one. I personally don't like medication. I don't think it's a good idea. But that's an option. Let me read you something. It says, an article published in the Archives of Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine, scientists analyzed treatment data on nearly 900,000 children and adolescents across the country and found that this population the use of psychotic medications increased by 2 and 3-fold from 87 to 97. Just jump. Pew. Listen to this study. Listen to this. Scientists also found that youth on Medicaid programs had higher rates of medication use than those with HMOs for all drug categories. In 1996, the 10 and 14-year-old age group replaced the 5 and 9-year-old group as the largest users of psychotic drugs. They're getting younger. It's easy to control you when you're on drugs. This implies that we're more likely to rely on medication rather than more intensive psychotherapy or behavioral interventions for reasons of economic expenditures rather than clinical outcomes. Also highlighted by this study is the troubling fact that stimulants were used with equal frequency in the 5 and 9-year-olds as they were in the 10 and 14-year-old group, suggesting that the need for medication did not diminish as you get older, which would be disappointing conclusions. Increase 22% increase from 2001 to 2010, adults taking mental health drugs. 29% increase in the number of women using antidepressants. 29% increase. So as I was reading this, my question that I wanted to ask the group is, so do you think just more people are just getting crazier, or just having to deal with life? Life is getting harder. What do y'all think is a problem? Any solutions?
It's easy to pop a pill instead of to commit.
Okay.
It's easier to do that than to discipline yourself.
That's true. Or could it be?
The money factor.
Could it be this? Ignorance?
Yes.
We don't know better. This became very real to me when I went to the doctor, and he wanted to put me on drugs. He said there was no other solution. What? I said, wow. What do you mean there's no other solution? No. You know, I'm not against drugs. I just don't like the way it's being used. Would you agree? It's a powerful thing. You know, it's a lot of, and we, you know, we live in a society where you have to figure things out. And this is why I'm trying to encourage you to read, educate yourself, learn. Because if you don't figure things out on your own, it's not going to happen. I figured things out for myself. I started searching for answers. You know, I think about my buddy, and I call him my buddy, but I just met him once, Abel. Who remember that? Who was here when I showed that guy that had arthritis? That they diagnosed him with what is it called? Something arthritis. He was a ninja warrior. Who's heard of that ninja warrior stuff? Where they go and they compete? Anybody heard of that? I mean, that's some heavy duty competing, right? They're obstacle courses. Well, this guy, I met him through my sister. He was a speaker at the hospital where she works, and I was able to meet with him, and I wanted to know his story. Well, he went to the doctor one day because he couldn't move his arm, or something was happening that he was losing control. He was getting weaker, and what happened is they diagnosed him with arthritis or some kind of arthritis, and they told him he was going to have to use this medication, and that there was no solution for him. This is what they told him, and that he'd probably get weaker and weaker, and he'll probably just get worse as times went on. And I'm telling you this story because I'm telling you this. You have to decide for yourself what you want to do. And he said that they were giving medication and wasn't getting better. It was getting medication, and the last time he went to the doctor, he told him, "Listen, here's more medication, but there's nothing I can do for you." And he took that paper that they told him that there was nothing they could do with him, and he threw it away. And he started seeking answers. And he started researching. And he started researching. And he started researching how to make his body better. To make a long story short, years passed, and he started getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that was on top of the fact that he didn't have a mother, or his family was separated, his brothers were somewhere else. He was having problems just like all of us. But he committed to learning. He got stronger. He got off that medication. He has a gym here in Edinburgh where he trains other kids to be strong, to be healthy, because his commitment is to help people get healthier. And then he applied to be on this Ninja Warrior TV show. He didn't make it. He stood in line for 5 days, not literally, but every day he'd go for 5 days. And they chose him out of what do you call that? Randomly. They chose him. And he became the first winner that was ever picked randomly. And he won national champion in this thing. When they told him that he was never going to get better. What have you been told? That you're never going to get better? That you can never change your life? What has your mind told you? What has your own mindset told you? What has your upbringing told you? Upbringing. What has your mother told you? What is you know what I mean? The voices that I talk about a lot. See, I promise you that a lot of it is going to be ignorance. Us believing something that's not true. What I'm trying to tell you is that we can do more than you think you can. Or you can do more than you think you can. The other problem I see, major 3, is attitude. Machiavelli Inc. Attitude. Attitude is brought upon by our mindsets, by our belief systems. And we have bad attitudes towards many things. Just our attitude, your attitude. I wanted to speak more on this, but what I want to just finish off, because it's already late, is that what's going to help you change your life is your commitment to change. And you look at and the solution is going to be found where you decide to commit yourself to. It starts with a desire to change your life. Right? That's what it starts with. and you start getting more educated, you start learning more, changing your attitudes. You start changing your attitudes, what changes? Habits. You start changing habits, what changes? Lifestyle. And once you change your lifestyle, destiny, I don't know how to spell that again. How to spell destiny? And I go back to the stuff I always teach here. Same thing. But all of us come in here with a lifestyle that has destroyed our lives. Many of us. I did. Our lifestyles have to change. But it's a process. But I guess I know I said a lot of stuff here. All over the place. But I guess I want you to think about, what are you committing yourself to? I know I was going to close, but I'll close with this one more thing. I've said this before, but I'm going to give you a secret, or a clue. We all have 24 hours in a day. The rich man has 24 hours a day. The poor man has 24 hours in a day. What do you use the first 8 hours for? Sleep. What about the other 8? Work. I'm going to tell you, how are you going to change your life? What you do with this hour, this right here. What you do with that is going to change your life. See, you don't have all year. You don't have 20 more years. You don't have 10 more years. You just have at least 8 hours in a day to start making a difference in your life. Does that make sense? Because some people say, man, I don't have no time. I don't have no time. Some people don't work. What are you doing with your time? YouTube. I do a lot of YouTube. I just went to Houston. I drove to Houston. And listen to what I did. And I'll close with this, I promise. I went to a seminar. I had a seminar that I bought by Jim Rome. It was called A Weekend with Jim Rome. I took it, put it in the car, started driving at, I don't know what time we left. What time did we leave? Huh? 10 o'clock at night. After church. And I put Jim Rome on. And I heard half of it on my way that way. And when I came back this morning, I started hearing the other half. I went to a seminar. Because I'm committed to change. And I use whatever time I have to do that. All right. So that's all I have tonight. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to pass around the donation bucket here. This is just what we pass around, this donation bucket. If you want to help us out, here you go. Anybody have any questions? I have a few brochures of what Choose to Change is, what we're doing here, what we are. Did you all get any of these? Did you get one of these, Arnulfo? You ready, Arnulfo?